Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the NAISCC, that of the Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, race number 8 of Season 2 here tonight. These drivers, you saw it last week. It was Bristol at the concrete, but tonight, let's lay a little bit of dirt. It's dirt racing action for these drivers for the Dirt Art Productions at Bristol. If you're wanting to look for some of the best action out here tonight, you have found the right spot on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And speaking more of that of Art Productions, it's actually Larry Art Productions. That is that of a comedy variety YouTube channel with content ranging from that of stop motion videos, vlogging, live streams, and more. Check it all that of the Larry Art Productions via YouTube today at Larry Art Productions. The drivers here tonight, 2-4 wide salute, which is notoriously known at dirt racing, just to give a salute to the fans, saying thank you for coming and watching for the drivers here tonight. And as they're rolling around, I also want to give more thanks to some of the other sponsors out here at that of Race Car Graveyard. Race Car Graveyard, our title sponsor here for that of the NAISCC Truck Series. If you're looking to get yourself die-cast collections from that of 1/24th ratios to 1/64th ratios, they've got you covered with die-casts that are available now, new, used, or even custom. And if you use the promo code RCGY, you can receive 10% off on your next purchase. Go to Instagram at Race Car Graveyard for more information, and as well, message them. Let them know that you are watching here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and watching the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And as well, Rookie of the Year award. That is one of the things that we continue to watch out. And right now, you could say that our Rookie of the Year award could be going to Trenton Jump. There's plenty of other drivers to watch out for, as well as that of Eric Stamp, both from that of team also working as teammates, but that is Hot Lap Designs. Hot Lap Designs, they are affordable schemes that you can get on the market. Hot Lap Designs offers high-quality custom paint schemes, driver suits, and helmets. Hot Lap Designs is anywhere from that of old NASCAR schemes, brand new schemes, dirt oval, asphalt oval, as well as road course cars. They've got you covered, and it doesn't matter. Hot Lap Designs can do it. Thank you to all the amazing sponsors here tonight, and thank you to everyone joining us Monday Night Racing action on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall and Robert Moyer Jr. running production. Zach, we saw it last season. We get to try it once more. It's dirt racing, but this time instead of Eldora, we're at the Bristol Dirt here at Bristol.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is a whole different beast, Sam, here. This dirt track here at Bristol. Very high banked, very different from that Eldora track we went to last season. So I expect a little bit, maybe more excitement, maybe a little more surprises too from guys that we don't expect to perform as well in this dirt. Because, you know, this is out of the element for a lot of the drivers coming in here tonight. They're still trying to pick up that pace. Some drivers, they take to it like, you know, a duck in water per se. And, you know, it's a very tough thing to do from going from asphalt, or as I should say, concrete here at Bristol, to this dirt surface. It is a completely different beast. You got to be able to work the throttle and work that wheel if you want to be able to go faster on here. And I think it's going to be key to keep up with that track. We know how dirt tracks change on iRacing, that dynamic track always changing.
Yeah, race admins wanted to make sure that everyone had an opportunity, and also with the knowledge that there's a wide range of experience racing on dirt. So from the end of practice to the start of qualifying, and also at the start of the race, the track surface will be at its prime first, zero usage course. So there's going to be a maximum amount of grip, moisture to the track. It's not going to be too slick. But for some drivers, they love the fact that there's so much to work off, and that's where Danny Cochran's going to be succeeding here. You look at Eldora last season, there's some drivers to watch out for. Danny Cochran's going to be one of those for sure, top of the board for me to watch out for. Same goes to that of Jarrett Talmadge, Trevor Earhart, going to be some drivers, but also are that of a three-time winner this season, that of John Forbes. Incredible to think that he's a three-time winner, but honestly, he's one of my favorites to watch out for in that 11.
Oh, no doubt, Sam. I really think he has a chance to go for that fourth victory of the season already. I mean, you look back to Eldora last season, he's got some dirt pace, that's for sure. He led a lot of laps there, and it was actually a last lap incident that took him out of it. So he's got a good chance to go out there and get that fourth victory, I think, even tonight on this dirt surface, even though he got the win last time we were here on the concrete surface. And it's pretty cool that, the sponsor here at Larry Arts Productions, they're going to be giving him $50 if he can go out there and get the victory tonight. So that's going to be cool. And I think they're also giving a jar of dirt from the Bristol dirt race they raced on the Cup Series. So some cool stuff by the sponsors and everybody here at the Truck League on Monday nights, man.
Yeah, Larry Art Designs was posting photos of the weekend showing, hey, we got the jar of dirt from the actual Bristol Dirt event. Hey, the winner can go get this. And it's such cool things that we're seeing from the sponsors. They're trying to give these drivers incentives to get up front racing as hard as they can. But a giant surprise for my eyes, number one, it's going to be topping the board. Dylan Walterman out of nowhere topping the board. That is a surprise in my eyes. Going to be almost a full 10th faster than Danny Cochran. It's close to that. But Walterman, I don't think he was on my radar of a driver to watch out for, but certainly has got some speed. And there's a lot of different drivers that I was talking through before during practice, before we went live. A lot of drivers were saying it is an unknown of what we're going to see here tonight. The track's new. This is the new revamped Bristol where there's progressive banking compared to what the drivers were dealing with before, where it was all just one solid state where drivers were just ripping the top line. There's a little bit more variety of which lane you're going to be running here tonight, but certainly this is going to be interesting how the drivers can attack this course. Like I said, there's a wide variety of drivers that have never touched dirt before, and there's some that actually have experience. And for the drivers that actually do have experience, they're saying, hey, I'm a little concerned. There's some drivers that I never thought were actually going to be quick here tonight that are looking mighty quick, but that's on the fresh surface compared to the older surface. So this can change and differ throughout tonight.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, being quick on a clean surface to a, completely worn out surface is a big difference. I know personally myself, I even struggle to find speed once the track wears out. I feel like I can really, when it's tacky and clean like this, and the track's got a lot of grip, it's easy for almost an asphalt driver to go out there and find that grip level. But once it starts to slick off, you get those black spots where, it is pretty much just like ice out there on that racetrack. And it's tough. You got to be able to move around this place and methodically make your line each and every time possibly different. So it's going to be fun to watch that. But, picking up Dylan Walterman there in that first place position, I'm actually not too surprised from it. I know he actually comes from his past previous, just, chatting with Dylan. He comes from a dirt background. That is where he started. He actually didn't start on the asphalt side of things. He actually was newer on the asphalt side of things. So right here, this is pretty cool to see. Right here, already picking up and showing that his background is working in this truck.
Certainly is. And also, there's going to be a few drivers who's watching Jesse Thornick just putting pace laps down. Jesse actually was not able to get any of his laps to count, as they were all invalidated by getting incident points. And that's also going to be a factor for these drivers to watch out for. It is very difficult to go over that of what we call 4X, 4 incident points, by making contact with a wall or another driver. Majority of the time when you're doing dirt racing, it's around 2, 1, or even 0 incident points, even when you make contact with the wall or another driver. That's going to be something to watch out for, as there is an instant limit of 24X. Could be something we'll talk about, because for these drivers, it is 150 laps, a lot for the drivers to be worrying about for themselves, but qualifying is done. It's time to check out to see where the driver's going to lie for that of Sac City Diecast qualifying results. Sac City Diecast, again, if you're looking to get diecast, couldn't get enough from that of Race Car Graveyard, well, go to Sac City Diecast. Go to Instagram at that of Sac City Diecast to go get yourself some discounts, as well as that on eBay. And you can find anywhere from a variety of drivers, teams, also diecast size. They've got it all covered if you're looking for some of the best diecast from Sac City Diecast. Dylan Walterman in the one, going to be taking that first place position for that, as well as second place was outside. It's going to be the number 2 in second place for Danny Cochran. Ethan Smith, Trenton Jump, that of Cody Reed. Reed was another driver that did very well qualifying at Eldora last season. We'll see if we can translate that. Christopher Norris, another driver that competed very well, as we're going to be seeing that of Isaac Shelley, Thomas Green, Kyle Rochelle, and finishing out your top 10, it's going to be that of Ollie Fonseca in that 24 machine.
In the 11th position, it's going to be last week's winner here on the concrete, John Forbes. 12th position alongside him, going to go to 47 of John McAdams. We're going to 3 Anthony Gaudier there in the 13th position. 14th is going to go to our Atlanta winner of Eric Stamp. 15th is going to be the 19 of Tyler Dingler. 16th is the 81 of Jason Tamer. Eric Krillick going to be in the 17th position there, with 18th going to Paul Brett Goley. 19th going to Gregory Shaw. And rounding out that top 20, it's going to be Morris G. Bogan.
And it's going to be Dakota Moniz in the 5. Michigan going to be in 21st position. 22nd goes to that of Jarrett Talmadge with Blake Howell, as well as that of Corey Tabor is going to be in, that of Trabue going to be in that 24th with that of Joshua Freed. Logan Brakey, this is James Loveland in 27th. Jesse Thordick in 28th. 29th goes to the Martin Morales Jr. with that of Alex Light in 30th. And that of 31st goes to Trevor Earhart, which I was talking to some of the drivers. Some of them felt like starting in the back, if they felt like they didn't have enough speed to qualify up front in the top 10 to top 5, they said, you know what? Let's just go to last. Let's try to survive this race and see how many drivers can just wreck themselves out before we get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy if you don't feel confident, especially, being in the middle of the pack and being right mixed up in it. I think that's a very good strategy that some of these drivers are going to employ here to start out back. And, these NASCAR dirt races do seem to be somewhat of an attrition race. I mean, you get damage, you can still get it done around here with a lot of damage on these trucks on the dirt. But I will say, if you do hurt that motor, you're not going to be able to go around here. So you got to have a clean truck with a clean motor to get the power to come out of here and make speed around this racetrack still. So they will be out back trying to survive here, Sam, man. But 150 laps on the dirt. This is going to be some special racing here for the NAISCC Truck Series.
It certainly is a special night. The second time we've seen this truck series go to dirt track racing. And of note, caution laps will count with other dirt racing series. Sometimes they don't count, but we were notified by the admins that the caution laps will count this evening as well. Stage 1 going to be on lap 70 for these drivers. There's going to be 0 fast repairs and 4 extra sets of tires. Tires will not be a true factor for the drivers to worry about because of the way that everything translates, it's not the biggest thing. But the pace truck is going to pull off, giving ourselves to green flag racing here. We wait for the drivers to go around the course to go, and we are now green into turn number 1. And I got to say, Zach, this is when things can get frisky, especially into turn 3 on who's willing to go 3 wide down into turn number 3.
Already beaten, banging back farther in the pack. There's our 4 wide in there. John McCann's up into Ali Fonseca. You got Kyle Rochelle and John Forbes, our winner from last week, up top. That is already getting wild, Sam. You are not kidding about heading off into 3.
It's really one of those things where the drivers are willing to do anything and everything to gain positions. As we're seeing it throughout the field, drivers are willing to beat and bang, and that's going to be something to normalcy because of the fact there's so less control to worry about. It's going to be all about how can you get every position early on. We're going to see this track evolve throughout the night, especially, I would say, every 10 to that of 20 laps. This track's going to have an extreme change. You're going to see the moisture in the track go away. We're going to see a very dark groove shown on track. That's what we call the slick. That's going to be something for these drivers to worry about because it's just going to get slicker and slicker as the night moves on.
That definitely will, Sam. And some of these, oval drivers, we have rubber on the racetrack, but it is nothing compared to dirt. This track changes, like you said, almost every single lap when you go around here. So you got to keep up with it every single lap. And I tell you what, though, looking at some great racing already going on through the field, Danny Cochran was able to get by Walterman as we ride on board with a few drivers back here really fighting these trucks. And the progressive banking, the changes they've brought to this racetrack here on iRacing and actually to the real Bristol racetrack itself, I really think it's improved the racing here. You've seen that outside groove be much, much better. Where we seen last year, that bottom groove was very, very dominant. Now, any groove really works here, and it's fun to see. We can have side-by-side racing all the way around this half-mile racetrack.
It's incredible to watch as we were riding on board with that 81 at Tamer, and you saw Tamer, he had to crank that wheel completely to the right side, to the wall, just to get through this track. If you haven't watched cars, you turn right to go left. Really, that's how it's going to work on the dirt, and that's what we're seeing from the majority of these drivers. Also, if you were able to watch any of the Coca-Cola series, the drivers are constantly working this wheel at all times. There is not a point where you can really relax. It is constantly working the wheel, seesawing it, turning it left, right, and center to make sure that you're going straight. And majority of the time, you're going to be turning that wheel to the right side to the wall, which is so opposite of what these drivers are used to.
Oh, no doubt, Sam. You're usually pointing that wheel like that to the wall. You're going to be straight head on into it. So bad things usually happen in Bristol with that type of wheel. But, man, that's how you got to drive a dirt car around here. And this is, imitating a dirt car. You got to drive it the way you got to do. Kick that right rear out and get as much turn in that front end as possible to get the drive up off. And I tell you what, right now, our front about 7 here, starting to really break away, but we seeing some great racing back there with John Forbes in the 9th position, Kyle Rochelle there 10th, and along with John Isaac Shelley the 98 there from 8th. They're really racing great right there at the spots.
I mean, they're racing to see who can crack into the top 10. Again, top 10 are the drivers are going to be getting those bonus points at lap 70, which I think by the time we get to lap 70, this track is going to be evolving about 3 or 4 different times. We are in what I call the freshness of the track. Any groove really works, and the majority of the time at this point, you want to get as low as possible because you got all the traction of there being moisture in the track. Later on, we're going to see the drivers move up on the course like we're seeing that of Isaac Shelley currently. And for some drivers, they feel like, hey, I know the track's going to be moving up here. I'm just going to move up to this higher line early so that if later on when the track finally evolves and gets up here, I'm ahead of the game and I'm going to really get that run early.
Yeah, I think personally, from what I've seen throughout the week, watching multiple races at this track here, I think that top groove is going to be the place to be early in this race and really through the mid portion. But I think as that race transitions on, we might need to start to watch those exits of the corners, and especially in the middle of the corners also for some bumps. This track will really build a lot of ruts into it, and you got to credit iRacing's dynamic system for that. I mean, it's amazing to see how much this track is going to change, ladies and gentlemen. When we get to lap 150, this thing is going to be torn to pieces, especially if we can stay green like we are right now.
The unknown of dirt racing here at Bristol certainly was something that the drivers all were thinking, all right, are we going to be able to just survive and be out here as long as possible? Some drivers were thinking 2 laps we could stay green. Some were thinking 5, but this is one of the longest runs we've seen so far that I think any driver could have thought. And Zach, I think that's what the one thing of having this track changing from that of translating what normally other dirt racing series do of, whatever the track surface is like at the end of practice, it just keeps on getting more and more worn in throughout the racing time to just resetting it to 0 at the start of the race. Resetting it has given these drivers a little bit of fresh air to really figure out this track, but we're starting to see that dark groove that I was talking about, what we call the shiny, where it's very slick and the drivers got to be careful. It's starting to groove in here 15 laps in.
Yeah, and the interesting part about that, it usually starts to happen right there on the entry of the corner where they flick that truck right onto the entry, really going to yank the wheel to the left and then back to the right as it gets sideways. So, yeah, that's where you see that slick already starting to build up. And one driver that we'd seen there was almost up in that, really up and almost into the wall. That was Jesse Thornicus. He's already gone 1 lap down here as Martin Morales now will be the last car, or sorry, Joshua Martin Morales will be the last car to lead lap, but we have Morris G. Bogan 2 laps down somehow out here also.
Yeah, Bogan, I believe, actually had to come to pit road in the first 2 laps after an issue for the 36, but got back out on track. We'll see if Bogan can come back. I think a lot of these drivers were expecting a lot more yellows to strike, but we love the fact that we've been able to stay green. I think that was the big thing when I was talking to the drivers. They were expecting this race to go with a caution fest and for it to stay yellow a lot. As I talk about it, though, it does strike. It's going to be the 10. The Tribune going to be coming out with this yellow, but I think that was the big thing. The drivers wanted to see if we were able to stay green, what type of strategies or how spread out could everyone get. As you see there, the 10 going to be stopped on the inside of this track and waiting for the rest of the field to go around, which is kind of hard here at Bristol as we take an instant replay to figure out what bred out our first yellow of the night here at the Dirty Art Productions 150.
Yeah, you can see right here, already very, very loose, turning down the racetrack. Tries to overcorrect there, save the thing, and it's so tough to save a truck here on the dirt. And seems like already fighting it there, and it's going to break back right. I'm not even sure if this is the exact. Yeah, there it is right there as it goes around. But it seemed like the entry, where that slick is already forming, Sam, that is what got him really the most sideways. He was almost completely 90 degrees sideways on entry.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing for these drivers. The more that this track gets worn in is you can't flick it as hard as you were at the start of this race when there was really so much grip that you needed to throw it into the corners. As you start to lessen the amount you really got to throw it in, but you still got to counter steer. And for that of Tribune and the 10, that is going to be the first yellow. We'll see if the 10 wants to get back out there on track, but it's one of those things where drivers got to be careful of not getting themselves into too much trouble early on. But again, 20 laps in, our stage break is going to be on lap 70. Top 10 get those bonus points. And right now, Danny Cochran, Dylan Walterman, and Trenton Jump, I'd say, and Ethan Smith, all 4 of those drivers are feeling pretty confident at the early goings of this race. But Zach, I mean, first 20 laps, I think everyone's playing pretty nice besides seeing that spin.
Yeah, that was some great racing. The concern always is with a dirt track like this is having those cautions, and it's very possible with the racing we had we could have had those cautions, but these guys have been willing it, keeping it green, and that's what we want to see because that's when the track's going to change the most. That's when we're going to see the biggest amounts of comers and goers. And man, that those like you said, those front four were really digging. I was watching lap times; it looked like Trenton Jump was really starting to come on.
And they can be aggressive. Again, like I noted on, tire wear is not going to be the biggest thing for these drivers to worry about because you really don't see it on dirt racing. So the drivers can be as aggressive as they want early on and just pull away. And that's what we're going to be seeing immediately and on every single restart is just the aggression level kicking in. But the one thing we are going to have to keep note of is fuel for these drivers as, again, lap 70 is going to be the stage break. And I believe the drivers will be good at that stage break just to come and get fuel done and not have to worry about it. But that is always going to be the lingering factor if we go green after the stage break of drivers having to come into pit road.
Yeah, that is a good question there. It's always interesting, especially if it was to go green, it would make it very very close for 150 laps around this racetrack, especially in the dirt. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who decides to possibly pit there or who tries to maybe stretch that fuel. I mean, it could be close. So if you get enough cautions, it could definitely be done. So we'll see how that shakes out. But right now, looks like we're getting double file back up. I think the lights are going to click off on the pit truck. Yes, they are. And we're going to go back green flag racing and throw some more dirt up in the air, man. It's already slicking off very fast there on the entries of 1 and 3. I can't wait till this whole thing, though, just gets completely destroyed. Then the guys got to really start to search, Sam. It's going to be what groove goes fastest. Like you said, it's every lap trying to find something new.
That was the big thing. I was trying to talk with the drivers and get their points of view of how they thought this race was going to go. And I felt like a lot of them were saying, once we get to that stage break, it is going to be a completely different race on how you got to attack this track because it's not going to be the same one like the start of this race. Pace truck is off. Danny Cochran, that of Dylan Walterman, going to be your front two. We are green going down into turn number 1. And right now, everyone might be trying to search, go to the high line, but down low, it's Trent Jump trying to send it down low, and other drivers trying to see what type of runs they can get for themselves, but it's stacking up from second on back.
Yeah, definitely stacking up, but a great move from Trent Jump, and we already got a quick another yellow here as looks like we've got some type of incident back here farther in the back with Blake Howell.
Blake Howell going to be one of the drivers that's going to find himself in issues, and I'm looking at Hal, and it looks like with the one contact he got, engine going to be blown after this, and that's what you hate to see. And that's what I was actually hearing from a lot of the drivers. There's some contacts you can get with the wall, even if it looks super minor, you can find yourself seeing your engine being blown. There's the contact with that adjacent Tamer, excuse me, going to be with contact with Hal into the inside wall, and just like that, 32 finds the smoke bellowing out, engine blown for that of Blake Howell early here on just that of lap 25.
Yeah, personally, I think what a lot of this damage is coming down to these guys, taking a little bit lighter hits on the wall and getting more damage than they normally would, especially to the engine. I think that's mostly due to they have to take the safer barriers off this racetrack when they put the dirt down. So right now, it's just a concrete wall, both on the outside and that inside wall, where normally we'd have a safer wall, a protected wall there that kind of absorbs a little bit of that blow when you hit there with that truck. And it seems like definitely with that type of hit there wouldn't normally cause that much damage, but it put Blake Howell pretty much out of this race already.
And Howell's going to be one of the first drivers that's going to be just stuck in pit road with required damage for that 32. Up front, still going to be Danny Cochran, Trenton Jump, as well as Dylan Walterman, Ethan Smith, Cody Reed, that of Thomas Green, Christopher Norris, John Forbes, as well as Kyle Rochelle and Isaac Shelley. And gotta say, Zach, I mean, this was the one thing we knew that Danny Cochran, as well as Ethan Smith, Cody Reed, Thomas Green, though, and also you could say Christopher Norris, they were looking to be fast drivers to watch out for, but it was the rookies that were coming into the night that we weren't really on the kind of fritz of who was going to be fast, who was going to be a little bit slower. We just don't know. It's been really the rookies that have been surprising us all season long, and I think Trenton Jump up in second. No surprise based on how the early goings of this season have gone.
Yeah, Trenton Jump, man, I tell you what, he's been the driver that, to me, it doesn't matter what track we've been to, a short track, an intermediate track, a plate track, a road course. He has been fantastic on everything, and now showing out here on the dirt track. I think that again just kind of stamps his stature in this league as being one of those guys that you're going to have to beat week in and week out. And when it comes down to this playoffs, he may be one that we're looking for in that possible Final Four that could be trying to bring home that championship. But tell you what, it's a stout field here in the Truck Series, but he's definitely shown out this season so far.
Those drivers are stacked up. They're getting ready to go green. The pace truck lights are off. So we're going to this time by Danny Cocker, Trent Jump. They see the pace truck pulling off, and we are green once again for the Dirty Art Productions 150. Danny Cocker and Trent Jump. Ethan Smith going to be your front three. And as we're riding on board with this back bumper of that of Trent Jump, you can just see the fact that these drivers are rolling. Excuse me, that's just going to be the back bumper of the one of Dylan Walterman trying to find himself on the inside lane, but they're going to be 2, 3 wide, searching for any type of grip contact. Walterman, Ethan Smith, but they stay pointing in the right direction. And now they're going to be stacked up 3 wide once again, and they're going to be 3 by 3, 2 rows, almost 3 rows deep, 4 wide, almost 5 wide for a second at turn 2.
Look down the back straight, 3 wide again. Norris in the middle, Reed up top, and you got Rochelle down on the bottom. Look at this action here as they come off the exit of 4, side by side, beating and banging once again. This is great stuff we're seeing here early on lap 31.
Big thing of the drivers that are in the middle of the high line. Well, there's a bunch of this contact. They're getting the assistance, but it's everyone that's on the inside, more contact. There goes Ollie. Fonseca going to be spun around, and there we go. The big one striking on the back stretch. They pile in, and the yellow flag flies in. If anything, Zach, we kind of saw that was happening with the way that they were just pinballing up from that of third on back. Someone was going to go around. It was going to be that of Ollie Fonseca, going to be the one that's going to be tossed around first.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was everybody just kept getting closer and closer and closer, and at some point that had to come to what we just seen, and it really all kind of started with Ethan Smith actually up ahead. He kind of got up almost up into the loose stuff up there, kind of jumped the cushion with the right rear, got a little bit too sideways. His checkup, with that caused Bristol Norris, Kyle Rochelle, and then Ali Fonseca, unfortunately, to spin around with our last week's winner. John Ford was right there involved, and yeah, like you said, just kind of the big one there. That was everybody stacked up on top of each other. And, dirt racing is a very interesting thing. Sometimes you're side by sides without really being side by side. So it's a tough ordeal to race side by side, but these guys are learning. And when you get that stacked up, sooner or later, somebody's going to make a mistake. But that was still fantastic racing. I mean, we were 5 wide almost at one point.
Yeah, it was great to see as they were poking their nose on where they wanted to place themselves. That's one thing about this dirt track racing is drivers can pick and choose. Do you want to be down low all the way up against the wall or find that middle ground for themselves? Multiple drivers going to be coming into pit road, though. That of Ollie Fonseca, that of Jared Talmadge, Aaron Kralik, and Gregory Shaw going to get themselves topped up with fuel as well. That's going to be getting damage repairs for themselves. Blake Howell going to be the first driver to be calling it a night for 32 after being involved with our second caution of the night and having a blown engine, leaving us with a total of 30 drivers going to be on track, but just that of 27 on the lead lap as that of Martin Morales Jr. and also Trevor Earhart come in for a little bit of damage repair later on. I mean, Zach, we're now coming up. We are technically coming up to halfway here through stage number 1, but already starting to see this track. It is not the same as when we first went green.
No, I mean, you can just see it. I mean, I love the fact that everybody at home can see it, with the drivers. You can, and that is the one thing about dirt racing. I think that is a different aspect to racing. You kind of got to use your eyes more than anything. It's not just, going out there and hitting your marks. You got to see where the grip is at. You got to find the moisture. And when you start seeing these, slicked off areas where it gets really dark, that gray, almost just weird looking covered off spot, you got to miss that. If you drive over top of that, it is just slick and you can't put traction down there. So these drivers are having to navigate, find any little bit of moisture left on this racetrack. And I tell you, when it gets all slicked off here, they're going to be looking for anything. So if there's a little, red part of clay up there somewhere that they can grab, they're going to be trying to stick their right rear up in.
They're looking for the best advantage, anything that they can find. And if you're looking for some of the best clothing out there, LP24 Clothing is the place for you to go. LP24 Clothing is a store that offers great quality and affordable prices. Whether it's hats, hoodies, t-shirts, or beanies, find what you're looking for in all colors, sizes. Follow at LP24 Clothing on Instagram and for more information and get your order today. Pace truck lights are off. We're going green this time by and the search is on. Who can find the right grip? Who's going to be feeling more comfortable as the track slicks off more and more? Because it's not just going to be a single groove. The longer this race goes on, the more the whole entire track's going to be just a mess of figuring out how you can tackle this course. It's building up as we go aerial view on this restart, get a sense of what they got to do as we are green. Danny Cochran is gone, and everyone else second on back trying to find what speed they've got as we look at the drivers back battling around 10th on back on what they're going to place themselves in the two defined grooves. You got the wall, you got inside, but they're all getting the launch out of the corner.
Well, it looks like the 3 at Gaudio up into the wall there on the back straightaways. You got the 97 Alexander Light there ripping the wall up top there from that 30th starting position, worked his way up to 17th. So great job from him there. Paul Bragoli on the bottom there in the 7 machine. You got also James Loveland, who started out back there, making his way forward in that 56. So great moves from a couple of these guys in this midfield, but also some damage trucks. You got to look up ahead there in that number 3 Oreo machine. Anthony Gaudio's got a lot of front end damage. Luckily for him, though, doesn't seem like it's hurt the engine.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt the engine too bad right now. And some drivers I was hearing, they were saying, you know, even if I get engine damage, maybe it's going to be assisting me on the fact that maybe I'll be able to run a little bit quicker. But into pit road, quickly going to be Jesse Thornick, as well as that of Bogan, as well as Tribute, all came in at the same time, having to get repairs done for themselves. We'll be right on board with James Loveland. And Loveland, a driver that, you know, I was actually looking over where he runs in points, might be in a must-win scenario. And I was also hearing from drivers that feel like if Loveland finds himself finding a little bit more points, we get to Dover or some of these other tracks where he finds ourselves where it's more tire wear, really focused. It's going to be a driver to watch out for. And speaking about watching out, in our top 10 biggest mover so far, it's that 81, Jason Tamer.
Yeah, Jason Tamer's really been working his way through. He's got Christopher Norris there battling with him in the 54 and trying to throw the slider, couldn't clear there. He's got the slide back up into that position. He's got John Forbes there behind. But yeah, Tamer's really been the one on the move. 16th up to 7th already here in the start. And oh, just a little bit too sideways there in front of Norris. Norris might have to run here on the exit, but it looks like Tamer's going to cover that off there as these guys are about 4 seconds back on the lead. And oh, Norris almost up into him there. Definitely don't want to be making contact once you're already sideways.
Yeah, absolutely don't. And also over the radio, heard it, Jay, that of Anthony Gaudio, blown engine. It was an update that we were given about that drivers, with the way this setup is, oil pressure is going to be a big thing for the drivers. Their revs are so high on the straightaways and into the corners that if they are going too fast in the corners, they actually can blow up their engines if they stay full throttle for too long. And that's what we're seeing, as well as up front, battling for the lead. It's going to be Danny Cochran and Trent Jump that are on top of one another, and Jump trying to go for that lead position as Danny Cochran's getting a little bit too sideways, giving an opportunity to the 46.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Jump is finding that real high groove there. He's been able to really work that. Now slides it to the bottom here. They're going to be side by side as they go through the middle of the corner. Jump's going to actually be a nose ahead here on the exit, but it's going to be the power up top that allows that 2 to clear him here. But we'll see if Danny Cochran can solidify what he's got here. But Trent Jump showing he's got a little bit speedier as this track continues to get a little bit slicker and slicker.
And the more they battle on, here comes Dylan Walterman coming to do with a dive bomb move, trying to make the slide job on the 46, and will come up clear. But the crossover comes from Trent Jump as the one gets into the outside wall, side by side in turn 3. Trent Jump feeling comfortable, but again, once you try to make a pass and it doesn't work out, you kill so much momentum, but yellow flag's gonna wave. It's gonna be Trevor Earhart, gonna be spun around on the front stretch, stuck on the inside wall as you see there.
Oh, and our leader, Danny Cochran, up into somebody too, parked up against the wall. I think the 96 of Joshua Free was up high there, slow up against the wall, and Danny Cochran goes nowhere, and that truck is hurt.
Absolutely hate to see it, and now Danny Cochran, who was looking like the favorite to win, now could be seeing his race done after hitting the driver that was stuck on the outside groove in the preferred lane. But oh boy, Zach, I mean, that is a hurt truck. He's going to try to work on it the best that he can, but it has required damage. He has to come in at some point. Also, Trevor Earhart is done for the night. But the drivers right now that are listed on required damage currently, it's going to be that of Tribute, Danny Cochran, Freed, Gaudio, Thornick, Bogan, and as well going to be that of Blake Cowell, who is already done for the night. And oh, this has got to be heartbreaking for the driver that was dominating here early in the first half of stage 1.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I know Danny came in here with a lot of aspirations to win this race. being a big fan of dirt racing. Actually, a really good dirt racer at that too. I mean, he does it a lot, and it shows. And right now, unfortunately, he is going to be bringing that thing to pit road, and that is heartbreaking. There, the caution comes out right as he crosses the flag stand. Just couldn't get it woed up in time. I don't know if maybe he just didn't catch. You know, you're so focused on going fast that maybe he didn't catch the yellow that quick, and kind of just didn't get slowed up in time. And I tell you, with that engine smoking like that, it's going to be a pretty much definitely a night over for the raceman. He might try to salvage something out if they can fix it, but it's still nonetheless going to be a tough night for that too. Who came in aspirations to win it.
Driver Earhart and Jesse Thornock going to be drivers calling it a night for themselves, parking it officially as Danny Cochran goes into pit road, leaving us with that Trenton jump. Dylan Walterman going to be our front two. And if anything, this kind of gives us a little bit of shades of how that of Eldora went last season. We saw a lot of drivers swapping it up on who was going to be up front, or in the early goings of last dirt race that we did. It was John Forbes that was leading in early portions, and then Mark Whitley got the lead and never looked back. Good to see a similar thing here for Trenton Jump, but you got Dylan Walterman. That of Shelley's been looking pretty quick. He looked under practice for a bit there. It was Kyle Rochelle that was actually top of the board for the longest time. So we still have some heavy hitters that are quick and drivers to watch out for. And also further back in the pack, drivers that have moved up, that of James Loveland and Alex Light. Both could find themselves climbing through this field, potentially trying to go for the lead.
Yeah, man, this is shook it up here. I mean, one of the top contending trucks getting taken out here on lap, 49, right here early in the lap 50. This just shows you again. It's Bristol with dirt on it, but you're never safe in Bristol. It's a half mile when you have this many trucks, this many things going on here, and especially as slick as this track is getting, we're going to see more and more of these guys lose control of these trucks. So I would not be surprised to see a few more of these top contenders possibly get involved in stuff that is happening up ahead of them, or even them. It could easily step away from you any moment. You got to stay on top of it here. Unfortunately for Danny Cochran, though, it's going to be into his pretty much night here.
As we are coming up to the start of lap 52 for these drivers, we are watching that of the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, race number 8, season 2. Dirt track racing for the Dirt Art Productions 150 at Bristol, and we are green. And it's going to be that of Trent Jump, Dylan Walterman, and already Walterman's going to be diving it down low. Potentially could be going 3 wide for second place as we're right on board with the 98. It's going to be Isaac Shelley, who sees a little contact up in the outside wall, and no surprise, the rest of the field, they got to check up on that accordion fact.
Yeah, good job by everybody checking up there. A little bit of contact there from Kyle Rochelle's right rear up into Isaac Shelley that slammed him up into the wall, and that was a heavy hit on that right front. Luckily for him, it doesn't seem like it's hurt any part of the motor for that truck, but he keeps it going for now as the battle's going on behind there. Dakota Moniz, I just see him throw a slider back here on somebody. I think it might have been on Tyler Dingler. It was a big one going off into the corner as back here around that 13th, 14th position, Paul Bragoli, all this group here all stacked up here for position.
Moniz, as well as others, going to be running back. John McAdams, they're going to be 3-4 wide back here. As you see the 47 of McAdams going to be trying to find himself a little bit of contact into Ollie Fonseca as well. He's going to see on the inside that of Gregory Shaw and others trying to figure out how to work that inside lane, but there's just the momentum that you carry on the outside is why the outer lane is such a preferred spot to be. But if you can find out a way to dive it down low, try to make a slide job move and have a big enough lead to come back up, stall out, make the driver that you're passing not get on the throttle soon enough, keep that pass cleanly. But it's a fine artwork that you got to do. But as well, we're seeing these drivers 15 laps left here for stage number 1. Lap 70 is the goal. End of lap 70, get in the top 10. You get those bonus points, and right now in 10th place, it's going to be that of Jason Tamer. But James Loveland, Dakota Moniz, they're trying to catch up to that 81.
They're trying their best indeed. We got the 56 of James Loveland there. Their balance of position is, man, Moniz really ripping the top and caution out on the racetrack once again there. It looks like John McAdam around with Tyler Dingler.
You knew these two. I mean, we were watching it for a quick second. It was a gaggle of cars on top of one another. It was kind of a hornet's nest, expecting something to strike, and it finally does. It's going to reset it and put these drivers with less than 10 laps to go in stage number 1. As we go under yellow here, I mean, Zach, I mean, at this point, this is where that experience level kicks in of drivers that know how to react when the track gets to this point, and other drivers that don't when it starts to show. And McAdams, other drivers making contact, and After losing really where that truck was going to go, it's Tyler Dingler, the innocent victim.
Yeah, man. Jarrett Talmadge and looks like the 47 John McAdam kind of getting into it there. Looks like both of them giving each other some pretty good contact. And the 19 back into the 47 there is Tyler Dingler was kind of the innocent bystander there. He was on the bottom, got hit by him, then got hit by him on the back straightaway there coming down, and unfortunately runs into the back of him there. And that's going to give Tyler Dingler required repairs, and he's going to be put on pit road here now, sitting there for a while.
Very shocking to see Ethan Smith as well as John Forbes both coming into pit road, and John Forbes was up in the top 10. Wasn't expecting to see that at all. This could be a gutsy call of come in and potentially say, hey, this could be my last pit stop of the night if we get a lot of yellows, and could be a strategy of taking track position after the stage is done by the 11 as well. Going to be seeing that from the 00 as we're under our 5th caution of the night, giving us an opportunity to talk about some more amazing sponsors. Why not talk about one of our amazing sponsors, that at Advanced Sim Racing. Advanced Sim Racing, your one-stop shop. I would say probably the best eBay if you're looking for getting yourself into creating a racing rig. They've got monitors, they've got sim chassis, and if you use our promo code FreakyFast5, you can get yourself 5% off at Advanced Sim Racing. Thank you so much for sponsoring us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For the drivers out here, Zach, I mean, it's going to be less than 10 laps to go at this stage. I want to see some more drivers trying to do some crazy dot bomb moves, but at the same time, big picture, I think would be nice to hear in the back of their minds.
Yeah, it's the big picture is definitely in the back of their minds. You got to think that for sure. And I mean, as they're pacing around this track is just continuing. Even though we haven't had a long green flag run like we did to start the race off there, we've only had like 6 to 7 lap sprints there. This track continuing to slick off, and like you said at that stage point, and like a lot of drivers said, it's going to be a completely different race from that point. You're going to have to go up and find it, and guys are starting to do a little bit of getting into that wall there. And I know they have a rule there that you're not supposed to wall ride, and especially intentionally. It's going to happen sometimes with a mistake. You jump that cushion, the truck's going to get into that wall, but definitely could be of a little bit of advantage there if you use it the wrong way. So definitely don't want to see nobody doing that, but I don't think nobody's been blatantly intentionally using that. So we'll see as that goes, but as the grip level changes, the farther they get up to the wall, it's going to be tough not to get into it.
Yeah, that's the big thing, and I think that's when drivers going to be searching a lot. I was watching some other, official races, some other, dirt track racing here at Bristol. It seemed like the majority of the time through turns 3 and 4, we were seeing drivers sticking to the higher lanes. At that point, turns 1 and 2, a lot of searching. Some would stay in the higher lanes, some would go down low. And that was when the track was completely slicked off and was at its worst state. For some, I would say it's worst state. For some, they love the fact when it slicks off. And so we'll see how the drivers are going to be really changing to this attunement as we're coming up closer and closer to halfway. Base truck's going to be pulling off. Trent Jump, Dylan Walterman taking us to the green for that of the Dirty Art Productions 150 at Bristol as we ride on board, get a sense of what it's like on these trucks, riding it through the center, looking for any type of momentum as we're on board with 54 of Christopher Norris and already contact Shelley, that of Kyle Rochelle into the outside wall, and with no surprise, they are going to be bouncing like crazy, but they also got to be keeping their eyes on that incident limit. Don't want to go over 24.
Yeah, you can't jump that. You will be out of this race for sure. And yeah, definitely a few guys getting up into the wall, bouncing here a little bit. And I tell you, as we look up into second there, Cody Reed, the 25, is the caution's out. Big wreck on the back straight.
And it's just going to be a pile up, more drivers coming in late, and it's hard to get on the brakes because that truck just wants to turn around. But it's going to be Tamer Smith, the hardest contacts involved in that one. In this field, we started with 31 drivers. There's a chance we could be down to just 21 by the end of this stage. Is the yellow timing of this yellow? I believe that we will have time for at least one more restart. I got to take another look at my notes, excuse me. But Zach, this is going to be a close caution of if this is the stage or not.
Yeah, this is very, very close. It should be, I believe, here, but we'll have to get official word on that. But man, Ethan Smith in that wreck there, his engine gets blown there. I think contact between him and Logan Brakey actually caused that there as they were parked on the back straightaway. So unfortunate for that 00, who elected to come down pit road along with John Forbes there. before the stage break, and that could very well end up being why he was back there and involved in that. You gotta think if you're Ethan Smith, that is just not good luck.
It really is not, and it looks like this will be the stage for these drivers. So it could be Trenton Jump, Cody Reed, Dylan Walterman, Kyle Rochelle, Isaac Shelley, Christopher Norris, Thomas Green, that of Gregory Shaw, as well as James Loveland and Dakota Moniz is going to be your top 10 drivers as they're pulling into pit road to get service done. We're going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, it is going to be back to racing action. Who's going to win here at the Dirty Arts Productions 150? We'll see in a few as drivers into pit road. I'll tell you where they lie once we come back. And we are greeted automatically going to be seeing contact, Trenton Jump, and others. The pile up right when we go green. Immediately when we come back, we actually are still green and the yellow finally flies. But carnage right when the stage is done and we come back to green flag racing. Oh my goodness, Zach. I don't think that was how we were expected to come back from commercial though.
Sam, that right there just woke everybody up if they were a little bit not in their head there all together, because, man, that was a pileup, and that is exactly what could happen at Bristol in the dirt track. You know, it just literally all lanes covered. That was about 7, 8, maybe even 10 trucks there involved in that. Trenton Jump involved, a lot of contenders, but it looks like a few of them made it through pretty clean. Even Trenton Jump, who was right in the middle of it, he made it through pretty clean.
Yeah, it doesn't have required damage for Trenton Jump, but Jared Talmadge as well as Logan Brakey both going to come out of that carnage with required damage for themselves. They're going to be in pit road. Same with Ethan Smith and Anthony Gaudio going to be involved with this one. As we take a look here, this is going to be the second half of the drivers that come in after the Trenton Jump contact. But, I mean, at this point, you're sticking to your lane. You're doing your best and hoping that they don't slide down, but there's nowhere to go, and it is gridlock in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, in dirt racing, you set your corner from the entry. You can't really change it too much from there. And as we've seen from Jared Talmadge, he was just on a wrecking path right into him, and there's really nothing you can do. If he lifted off the throttle, personally, he just goes up on the racetrack, hits the truck up above him, because you just don't turn when you're on the throttle here. So, yeah, that right there, unfortunate for him, man, because, you know, just nowhere to go. Like you said, it's just dirt race, and when you have a wreck in front of you right there, you can't really change your groove just all of a sudden like you can when you got that concrete out here on Bristol.
John McAdams now going to be added to the list. The drivers that have called it a night still in pit road is the majority of this field. I think we're left now with only 19 drivers that are on track. We started with 31, as we are now coming closer and closer to halfway. I mean, for those that were looking like favorites, I mean, Trent Jump, he was up there, but with pit differences of setting himself further back because of different strategy calls for drivers and those that have stayed out. What we talked about before we went to commercial break, some drivers were coming into pit road. Well, we had a handful of drivers that decided not to come to pit road, that of Kyle Rochelle, Christopher Norris, as well as that of Thomas Green and Dakota Moniz. Those 4 drivers did not come in, which kind of put some of our fast drivers back in traffic, and that's why we saw that calamity right when we went green.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, that was just right in the middle of the pack there. I mean, like you said, Trent Jump, who was the leader there at the end of that stage there, he was about 10th, 11th there in that range and kind of stayed in that range after that wreck. But yeah, this is going to be interesting with the strategy they're pulling up front. I like it. I think no worries about fuel, in my opinion. You know, these guys up front have yet to pit, other than I believe Gregory Shaw, who has pit twice here. So then back to John Forbes, you'll have the first set of guys who have pitted. So really, Dakota Moniz, Thomas Green, Christian Norris, Kyle Rochelle, not yet to pit in this race. I have no doubt I think they can make it to the end of this thing. I don't think tire wear is too big a factor either. I could be mistaken. Sam, you possibly may know a little bit more about that, but I don't think tire wear is going to be a factor either here.
No, tire wear is not a factor at all, even if you have fresh tires. With the fact that this track is slicked off as much as it is, if anything, having worn tires might be a better advantage to have, as these drivers, it's more of the track surface than it is about tire wear. So right now, Kyle Rochelle, Christopher Norris, as well as that of Dakota Moniz and Thomas Green that did not come into pit road, that track position more important, and it makes sense as the pace truck pulls off. We're going back to Green Flag Racing for the Dirt Art Productions 150 here at Bristol, and a little bit of lockup and drivers wheel spinning it down in turn number 1. Kyle Rochelle is gone, but all the drivers now going to be seen 3 wide for second place and back here for that of 6th.
Yeah, at one moment there was 4 wide. Cody Reed, though, what a pass from him. He went right through the middle there in that 25, got it done. He's up into the top 6 here now in that 25 machine. You'll see Moniz, though, dropping back on this high line here, trying to hold on. It's Fonseca up into him there in the 24. He holds on through there. Trenton Jump now going up high, trying to find any bit of grip there as they touch the wall into the corner.
A little bit of touching wall action, and also with one another, as Fonseca going to be losing a little bit of ground for the 24, not able to get really himself out of the corner as clean as he would like, but watch out for the drivers that have already gotten a lot of contact for themselves. Yes, some have come to pit road to get damage repair, but just any small little contact, like you noted on there, Zach, no safer barrier. And those little contacts can be so much bigger to watch out for. As Kyle Rochelle going to be in first place, John Forbes in second, but really our front 3, they're doing a great job just pulling away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they really are. And, you know, the other thing I'm starting to think about, you know, Kyle Rochelle here hasn't put fuel in this truck. I think that's going to help this thing here a little bit. I mean, as that fuel burns off, that truck's going to get lighter and lighter. It should get a little bit, personally, a little bit easier to drive on this dirt track. So we'll see if that helps him out, because, you know, the lighter this truck's going to get, personally, the better drive off he's going to start to get here. So we'll see how that works out. Right now, Kyle Rochelle looking strong out front.
That outer lane is where you want to be, as we're right on board with Gregory Shaw in 5th place, watching the 25, Cody Reed. Reed, another one of those drivers that had a good run back at Eldora, but yellow flag strikes as we see drivers. That's going to be Moniz. That's going to be seeing Dakota Moniz on the outside, as well as that of Alexander Light contact with one another, as more drivers involved with this one.
Oh, unfortunate. Moniz having such a good run. I mean, was up there in the top 5, slide back a few spots there after that restart, but looks like he's just going to have Alexander Light probably get a little bit too loose in front of him. And it's so hard when someone in front of you gets too sideways to slow down and not run them over. That's kind of what happened there with that latest yellow we had there. And Morales went around also. Looks like coming to pit road, is that going to be Kyle Rochelle? And he may have to come down here, it looks like. Or no, he's going to just be the fake. I know, sorry, he is coming.
Oh, he's in. He's coming into pit road. Same for Christopher Norris. I think both of them might have been expecting a little bit more yellows, and they didn't feel comfortable enough. We're going to be coming out for them to be able to stay out, as well as some other drivers. It's going to be Jarrett Tallmadge, who finally comes in. He's expected to get some repairs done for that of the 17. which now going to be giving the lead to that of John Forbes. That as well as second place going to be that of Thomas Green, Gregory Shaw, Cody Reed, Trenton Jump, Dylan Walterman, Ollie Fonseca, James Loveland, Aaron Krolick, and Jason Tamer going to be your top 10 currently drivers, as we only have 19 drivers on the lead lap. But Kyle Rochelle has been in pit road for quite a long time, and he's going to hope to get it back out on track before going a lap down.
Yeah, this is an interesting scenario here. The only reason I can think also why another reason we wouldn't be seeing them be able to stretch it this far with the fuel, because normally on the concrete surface with this many yellows would easily been able to do that, but it's just really the gearing and the amount of RPMs we're turning here. You're spinning the tires here pretty much, banging it off the chip every single lap here. It will very much use a lot of fuel when you're doing that, so it's got to be the case there for that scenario. We'll see though. John Forbes and them, they pitted at lap 58 there for him. Gregory Shaw's gonna be 48 for him, and then 32 back to Fonseca. So we'll see if those drivers they have enough fuel to stretch it that far. I mean, we've seen guys go 83 pretty much laps now with Kyle Rochelle and them pitting. So we'll see from where they stop. Can they get it done? It's going to be a little bit farther than what we've seen so far, and we'll see if it's doable.
Also, I think we got to think back to the fact that some of these drivers, they were in that first half of this race. We had a couple of long green flag runs. I mean, the first one was about 14 laps. So the drivers that on that first stint that are still out there, like Thomas Green and as well Christopher Norris, as I believe Norris might have had issues in the pit road, but it's one of those things where these drivers are going to have to figure out, okay, we're expecting more yellows to come out. Will they survive with all these yellows that are coming out? And as well, how much fuel will they be saving with how much yellows come out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of variables there to make this equation. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure the drivers have got it figured out more than myself up here in the booth for sure. So we'll see how it works out for him. And, we got Forbes now up front, 3-time winner this season, Sam. He's going for number 4, trying to get that jar of dirt and $50. My question is, man, is he going to be able to get this done? He's been impressive this season, man, just to be able to put him in these positions he's done so far.
Well, if you're wondering how that's going to be going and you want to be involved with that question and answering to it, that is what poll we have in our chat currently. Will the 11 of John Forbes win again and go for win number 4? I think it's going to be a tall task, but certainly he's got a great chance. He's shown that he's fast here at that of dirt tracks last season. Can he get it done here at Bristol? As we are green, John Forbes, Thomas Green, going to be already taking off. It's going to be side by side for for third place, with Shaw and Reed and others behind, trying to survive here at this course.
Oh, man, Gregory Shaw went from top to bottom there. Cody Reed going to take advantage of that. Is behind this there. You'll see in that bottom lane, this jump there as Graylick working the top in the 0-1. He's trying to get the run along with Tamer up there. Christopher Norris trying to work his way back in with Kyle Rochelle there, too. Also, there he just hit pit road.
And also, we're seeing the 54 trying to search for that tanner, lighter line. That's where the moisture is, and that's where the 54 is going all the way down to the apron, hoping to get a better launch out of the corner, which for some it's working out. And also, when you're dirt racing, you kind of have to put yourself where the other drivers are.
Yeah, you got to find this space to go forward, and right now Christopher Norris is doing it. What a great showing for this 54. It's been a great start to this season so far. What a transformation it's been from season 1 to season 2, and that's what you love to see from young drivers, making that improvement, man. And Christopher Norris is definitely showing it here as he's looking to make the move possibly on Fonseca here. Now Christopher Norris on the move here, trying to break into the top 6. He's going to get a little bit too much into the back bumper, and maybe go send Fonseca around here, and that's what you don't want to do. Norris there just
no. And just like that, there were 5 wide. More contact going to be made, and yellow's going to fly. Isaac Shelley comes in late. Ethan Smith trying to slow down to get through, and just you're trying to grab too much than what you really can take. And more contact going to be made. Shelley gets the worst of it out of that contact. Required damage for the 98. But of the drivers that were heavily involved with that, they were able to scave through. But, I mean, Zach, that's just trying to grab too much for that of Norris, and as well going to be seeing that for Ollie Fonseca, and both making contact and really hurting the rest of the field.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate. Just, giving Christopher Norris so much praise, but now I got to take a little bit of that praise away. Just a little bit too impatient, yeah, for sure. I mean, you're just so quick right there at that moment, making, those moves up, but man, just coming in a little too hot and getting over a little bit over too zealous there, trying to make a move. Probably when he was quicker, he could have probably waited just a little bit longer to set that up better instead of getting in there like that and getting into him. So tough ordeal, especially for Fonseca, who really, is just running his race.
Well, we can deem that either on, just trying to grab too much, or we can deem it on commentator's curse. So we'll let the audience decide on what we think it might have been. But both drivers, and like I said, able to scave away. It's going to be that of Isaac Shelley forced to come into the pit road. But for right now, seeing these drivers, we're seeing it tick away on who's going to be alive at the end of this race. But right now, John Forbes looking good for himself and kind of in a position where if we look back at that of Eldora, the last dirt race that we watched, it was that of Mark Whitley. Once we got to that of the about a quarter of the way through the race, when there was a lot of real wear and tear on the track that came in, the 77 of Mark Whitley was able to defend and stay up front. Well, for John Forbes, he's already pitted. He's good on fuel. He's now in a position where he's got the better restart because he's the leader, and I'm curious if he's going to be really telling the same story of being up front in the right time, right positioning to pull away with the victory here tonight.
Oh man, it's so tempting to say that Forbes is in that position once again to get it done. I mean, it's just that is the one thing John Forbes has not shown the most pace this season, the most. Really, I mean, most of his wins have just come out of nowhere, and that's the thing I got to give him credit for, man. He's always there when it counts. I think Bristol was probably his best performance of the season last week with just overall pace. Was just a top 3 truck all throughout the night, and definitely no doubt deserved that win. But, man, I'll tell you what, here right now, riding around this track, he's up front in position, but from what we're hearing from our producer, it sounds like he may be clutching his truck. He may be trying to save a little bit of fuel here also.
I mean, that's the big thing is with the high RPMs these drivers are carrying, especially with the gear ratio that they're put in these trucks for this race, there was always the thought of oil temperature going to be an issue. We saw that from Gaudio earlier. He blew his engine. He's in pit road trying to get those engine repairs, get back out on track, and potentially try to salvage at least 3 or 4 more positions of other drivers that have called it a night. But another thing is when you got those high ratios and high RPMs, you're burning more fuel, which means you're going to have to really play some mind games. That's what John Forbes is doing. He's clutching it. You see it there. RPMs 0 coming through that of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and just looking around a little bit, I'm seeing from math, I think these guys can go about 88 laps, and I think it'll get worse as the track gets slicked off just due to the traction loss and the more RPMs. So that could get worse. So that's possibly why Forbes here you see him clutching.
Clutching, waiting. Well, it's time to go green. You can't clutch no more. Pace truck is off. As good as seen that, Thomas Green immediately ducking it to the high line. And really, this is one of the few tracks where if there was a line change usage, weren't going to be able to really talk about that much as Thomas gets thrown into the outside wall. More contact. Eric Qualick gets spun around as other drivers continue to race on. But this is a group of top 5, top 10, hoping that they can continue to race as clean as possible. But you get to these points here, Zach, where you're kind of at the mercy of where the track wants to take you.
Oh no, and Jason Tamer, the 81, I think his motor is letting go here. He's putting out a little bit of a smoke screen here on the track and yeah, pulling low here. So Tamer's race coming to an end here also as this dirt track taking control of another truck's here damage, and there's motor expiring.
The odor goes away, and the question of who's going to be the next one as Cody Reed going to be in second place trying to run down John Forbes. Forbes already having a second lead over that of Cody Reed as well as that of Thomas Green. Feeling comfortable is the 11, but the 15 of Thomas Green, one of the drivers with actually the highest I rating in dirt track racing of this whole entire field. And for the Thomas Green, I was talking to him earlier, felt like, yeah, I got the experience. Yes, I got the high I rating, but man, I feel slow compared to some of these other drivers that are been finding a little bit of extra speed compared to my experience that I've had on dirt racing.
Yeah, that is always the question. How much can that experience transfer over? I think it helps a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think it helps you get up to speed quicker, but I still think finding those minute little bits of speed that you need to have to be able to be this fast in a race is down to practice, and you got to be able to put that practice in to get it done. And right now, Thomas Green, though, as this race is going on, I think that dirt experience is getting more and more, especially the track gets slicked off. I think that's where the dirt experience will show even more to find that grip, find the right lane, and find the speed. So right here, great racing going on back here as Downmage goes by there to 17. You also got Norris there trying to make his rebound back up.
These are all the drivers that are battling, quote unquote, for last place. I mean, this is back from the drivers from 13th back to 18th that are racing with one another. And these are the last of the drivers that are on the lead lap. But diving it down low, Talmadge going to be doing a dive bomb move for himself, but looked like he got off the gas too much. If you get off the throttle in any way or even touch the brakes, this truck just wants to go straight. You got to stay on the throttle if you want to be making any of these turns. And right there, you saw the 17 hard contact, but continues to race on. But as we move up to that of Dylan Walterman, gain a sense of what the one's running. 14th place currently for our pole sitter, but he's got a lot of work if he wants to get moving up. He's 2.5 seconds back. I mean, even more at this point than our leader. As we watch the wheel and right inside of Walterman, you can just see it is constantly working on that wheel to try to get this truck going through the corners.
I love watching this, the hands of a driver here at a dirt track when you run the wall. And look how loose and how out of control he is right against the wall. You make that 1 millimeter mistake and you are going to overjump that cushion and you're going to be up into that thing. And sometimes it can help get you turned, but sometimes it doesn't help you. You will bounce on that thing and it won't help you turn. So we'll see right here. He's working everything he's got is behind him. He's got Trent Jump and Kyle Rochelle trying to go to battle. Rochelle almost had a move made there to the inside, but he slides backwards. It's starting to spread out here a little bit now. This is getting down to see how far will this go. And the one thing I'm looking for, Sam, in these last 50 laps, we talked about it a little bit before the race menu, that outlander groove I think is going to go away here at some point. You're going to see some bumps form here on these exits that these drivers are going to start launching off of. I've seen about 1 or 2 of them so far, but nothing too bad. But if we can stay green here for a while, I think this track's going to go away pretty quickly up top.
Well, this is one thing I was actually telling the drivers. Like the turns 1 and 2 is your search zone. If you feel like you can get any extra speed, it's going to be through turns 1 and 2. You might think about going back down low, touching that apron, getting a little bit more of finding where the moisture is. And that's where we see Gregory Shaw right now trying to search for any type of speed, but is getting a little bit too sideways for my liking. Yes, dirt track racing is about kicking that rear end, getting yourself loose, sideways, working it around. But also at the same time, you're trying to stay as straight as possible while also trying to get, sideways to get that front bumper wanting to turn and get through these corners. And then you want to get straight as possible so you can really get as much speed on the straightaways. And that's where these drivers, those that have the experience, they're moving up, making these big moves. Others, they're starting to lose a little bit of pace. And if we look at the lap times that are being placed down, that last lap, it was actually Thomas Green that put down the fastest lap in 3rd place position, and he's closing in. And as well, we're watching the battling here for that of 4th place, Dylan Walterman, Trenton Jump, Kyle Rochelle as well, looking pretty quick for himself.
Yeah, definitely. Rochelle's again showing some pace here as he's working his way back forward from that pit stop there after the stage, or the caution after the stage, sorry. And John Forbes, though, up front, he's going to have some trouble, I think, guys. He's got some lap traffic he's catching, and when you get your lane taken away up top here by these lap cars, where are you going to go? That's the question. As you can see behind, he's going to have Cody Reed and Thomas Green not too far breathing down their necks as these 3 have really broken away about 5 seconds now back to 4th.
And this is the worst case scenario because you're catching up to lap traffic, one staying high, the other staying low, not really giving you an option of where you want to place yourself. You gotta have to trust where the lap car goes, stick the middle, and that was a clean pass made by our leader of John Forbes. Now going to be continuing to move forward, and now going to go on the outside of Isaac Shelley. And right now, got to be careful with John Forbes because you see that back bumper. There's that red 25. Cody Reed cutting down on that lead. It was once a half a second. Now not an, oh no, I think for John Forbes, he was expecting a little bit more space by that of Shelley. Shelley's now going to be blocking the inside for the 11, giving a great opportunity for your Cody Reed, but Reed into the outside wall.
Yeah, into the outside wall here. Now you're going to see the 11 slide up the racetrack, try to get the run away and have this outer groove. But Reed going to have a run on the bottom here. Does he try to throw a slider on the 11? Let's say he'll just try to slide in behind because, man, he made major contact in the wall. He did clear a lap car pretty well, but that contact on the wall was huge. He's got to be careful hitting that hard. As you also got Thomas Green here now as they're all 3 stacked up. They're going to have another group of lap cars here very soon.
And now you were talking about where do you put yourself as the lead lap car trying to get by lap traffic. Well, even if you're on the lead trying to go for a positional pass, it's hard to decide where you want to place yourself, especially when it gets this worn down of a track. You got to be picking and choosing. The outer lane is the preferred lane to be at the moment, but you got to be doing a slide job move. Go down low, risk a dive bomb. You might lose some momentum. You might lose a position, what you're trying to gain. but it's worth the risk if you can make a slide job and pass work. But it's all about the setup. Right now, Cody Reed just right on the edge of bouncing off that outside wall and trying to find some speed. But as lap traffic goes away, right now John Forbes is pulling, but there's the group, there's a pack, and the 25 into the outside wall again.
Yeah, he's been into the wall a lot of times. He's got to be careful, you know. That is definitely not going to be looked great upon if they go back and look and see how many times he's probably hit the wall tonight. But you got to, you know, it's hard to stay out of it when you're hitting the marks. I understand what he's working with, but look at this maneuver through the lap traffic, and that is just another hard clobber to the wall, and it's almost like he's using it at this point.
Yeah, clobbering into the wall, but John Forbes going all the way down to the apron to try to make this pass as well. Got to give credit to Anthony Gattillo after blowing his engine. He's back out on track. Going to be that at 63 laps down, but at least gaining positions. But the battle for the lead, we keep our eyes on. It's going to be John Forbes, Cody Reed, and, well, that is Thomas Green, but that outside wall is being utilized a ton on the entry of the corner. The exit, they get off of it. They know they can't stay on that outside wall, but Thomas Green in over the radio, he's getting concerned and letting admins know, I don't like what I'm seeing from our front two.
Yeah, they're definitely using it a bunch, Sam. I would have to agree with Thomas Green a little bit that it can't be letting it happen that much possibly, but we'll see how they call it here. Is right now didn't hit it that time, luckily for the case, but you know, if you're going to be ripping this top here, taking this risk, you got to stay out of the wall.
But that's also kind of that little bit of an edge that you always try to stay on. You're not trying to just pancake the outside wall. You're trying to get that corner of the rear bumper, and right there, that is absolutely destroying that wall. It's a little bit too much. You want to graze it, not utilize that outside wall. And John Forbes, as well as Cody Reed, all trying to survive. Thomas Green as well, kind of utilizing it at moments. And once it gets to this point of the race, we're coming to 30 laps to go. I mean, this is it, Zach. The track's utilized, it's used up, and at this point, you're just hoping the truck sticks every time you go to each and every corner.
Yeah, this is tough to see, and you even see up front. I mean, Forbes is just pulling away from these two. It looks like the 25 is struggling a little bit as they've got out of traffic here, and Green trying to work his way around, but they haven't tried nothing yet. They're just both sticking to this outer line, and
there it is.
Both of them. This is contact. I tell you what, that's just gonna let Forbes have a lot more breathing room, and they got trick jump coming in this 46. Or sorry, no, they don't. I thought they were way closer. They were way farther behind.
Yeah, I mean, our top three, they've been utilizing that outside wall and just pulling away. Everyone else has been trying to find a different lane to run and really trying to play a little bit nicer. Try and jump now, going to be on the back bumper of that of Dylan Walterman, and we'll see if we bring it out of yellow. I wouldn't be surprised if we do. As you saw on our ticker moving, it's going to be Thomas Green going to be moving up to second place as we watch Walterman get really out of shape for a moment there. But I got to say, Zach, this is, you know, like a note on, the track is gone. This is so slicked out. The experience level of drivers that know how to run this race, they're going to feel comfortable and confident for themselves to continue racing on. But driver chat was actually just deactivated for the drivers on track because admins did not like the amount of chatter that was going on of, hey, he says, she says, of drivers hitting the wall, bouncing off of it, utilizing it too much. But there's John Forbes. You know what? Let's not even touch the wall. Let's go down to the apron and find a different lane to run.
Almade's right there on his outer groove there, and I don't know how they got lucky. They didn't make contact there somehow. They slide by, and man, that could have been terrible for Forbes. There is a little bit of network issues for those two, and they keep it straight right now. But man, he's definitely digging through traffic. He's got to though, because Thomas Green is coming.
John Forbes, you can tell he's working it. You can see and smell the opportunity. 4 wins this season. The amount of heartbreak the 11 was tasting last season, it felt like he was going to get a win at Darlington. He was going to get a win at Daytona. He was going to get a win at so many different tracks last season and only came away with just one. And honestly, for this 11, he wants to find himself in victory lane, feeling like, all right, the heavy hitters, you know, Vincent Sora, Mark Whitley, they didn't show up for season 2. This is my opportunity to show that I'm the 3rd best driver. I made the Final 4 for a reason, and I'm going to be a driver to watch out for when playoffs come around.
Yeah, he is making big statements right now. This is just showing once again that John Forbes, you cannot count this guy out, but don't count out behind him the 15, man. That 15 is rolling right now around that top. He is finding the pace, and he is much quicker than Forbes at this moment.
But also, fuel is going to be a thing to talk about because Thomas Green, the only driver here racing right now to not go to pit road, but there's that wall riding we were talking about. just lost a grip right into the outside wall as the laps continued to tick away. We're coming up to 20 laps to go here, Zach, and Thomas Green, John Forbes. I think they're both going to be trying to debate of, well, he was wall riding more than I was. Maybe I should keep the win more than he did.
Well, I tell you what, Sam, you brought up a great point about him not pitting yet. This is amazing he's made it this far on fuel. Like I said, my calculations showed about 88 to 89 laps. John Forbes pitted with 92 to go in this race. He should be completely good to go if Thomas Green has made it to this point. But those cautions, they've helped a lot, it seemed, and he's been probably planning this from the beginning, maybe shutting that truck off during those cautions and saving as much as possible. But this race is just getting crazier and crazier. There's now Morales there.
Oh,
get out of the way, and it's going to be side by side here as 8 or 3.
Slide job, throwing it down. There goes Thomas Green. Dump into the outside wall. Gonna lose the momentum. John Forbes gonna be ducking it down low. Not able to get the run out, and it's Thomas Green with the better run. He's got the lead. Here comes the slide job from the 11. Into the wall goes the 15. Well, just like we've seen in asphalt racing, if you hit the center of the corner here at Bristol, you get a better launch out of the corner, and that's what Thomas Green hit. He's getting the better run, and right now, he is using the wall as the advantage for the 15 machine.
Yeah, this is the gray area, Sam, of the what these guys are playing with. They're trying to find every bit of speed, and I can't knock them too much. They're both up into the wall now at this point. They're almost wrecking each other here now as Cody Reed, he can't look too far ahead, or try not to look too far ahead, because, man, if these two get into it, he could be right here back into it.
They're side by side coming out of the corner, and it's still going to be seeing these drivers less than 20 laps to go. And it's Thomas Green on the outside. He's in the much more preferred lane, but John Forbes, if he can get a good run, just send it down low. He can find himself door banging the 15 once more and find himself taking a position, but also lingering behind all these drivers' minds. A yellow, it could strike. And for John Forbes, he's loving the driver in front of our leader right now. It's Ethan Smith. Will he be a chicane here for Thomas Green? Looks like not. He'll go down low, get out of the way, let our leaders just race this thing one out.
Yeah, great by Ethan Smith there. That's just great sportsmanship by a teammate of John Forbes. Could have played a little bit of argy-bargy there, got in front of him and took his lane away, made him have to go low, but very respectable move there to get down to that bottom lane as they continue to race here. Forbes, though, I thought once the 15 got here, he would be able to pull away, but he has really been riding the wall too a lot now also. So kind of, he was the one talking about it earlier. Now he's said, I guess he's thrown it out the window that he's just going to use it.
I mean, if you're seeing the driver in front of you using up the wall, I mean, at that point, you're just like, oh, well, if there's nothing going to be, thrown out about this, I'll just do it. As here comes the 11, John Forbes, diving it down low. Going to be trying to do a slide job move. The 15 up into the wall. The 11, great run for himself, but it's Thomas Green giving a contact to the rear bumper up in the outside wall. And it's John Forbes for now, but here comes the dive bomb move right on back. Crossover from the 11, John Forbes back to the lead.
Oh, what a crossover. Forbes right there. Beautiful move. The 15 was trying to get super aggressive with here, and he's going to be again. I don't know about that one, though. That was a little bit dirty, in my opinion.
Well, why not just throw him in the wall? I mean, he could have made the pass cleanly there. Let's just punt him in there. Now going to be a half-a-second lead. John Forbes, he's going to have to wall ride if he wants to get right back at Thomas Green's chance of the back bumper. And this is what, when you're riding the wall, and both drivers have been doing it, this is when a little bit of that dirty racing kicks in of, well, I want to get right back into the mix of things.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting. And no, man, I think
Thomas Green got disqualified. He had too many incident points and has been disqualified. Is the 15. Thomas Green is out of this.
Well, that is a way to end your race right there, I guess. He was going for it, had the lead, and ran out of incident points. But Forbes, though, now he's just got to he's got to settle down. If he's close on incidents, he needs to make sure he has a 4-second gap, 11 seconds back to Walterman. He has a gigantic gap here. He can get this done, Sam.
I mean, my mouth just dropped. I was like, what just happened to the 15? Was it internet issues? And I looked at the information, disqualification, Thomas Green looking from potentially winning this race to trying to hope that he doesn't finish outside the top 15, but it looks like that's what's going to happen for himself. John Forbes now banking on lap traffic, not taking him out of this race, because we are now 10 laps to go. I mean, Zach, John Forbes also has got to be concerned of those incident points, because there was a lot of slamming against both the 11 and the 15 during that run.
I mean, my mouth is on the floor. Sam, right now, I don't even know what to think right now. 10 to go here, coming the 9 to go now for Forbes. I mean, that just shows you. You talked about it earlier. You know, the incidents are a little bit more lenient here in the dirt side of things, but still slamming that wall, getting those contacts, like especially the one there as he made contact into Forbes. That was a crucial one. I imagine that had to be at least 4x.
As drivers making more contact with one another further back. Dylan Walterman, as well as that Paul Bergoli, going to be getting with one another further down. And these drivers further back in the field, they are scrapping for every single position, and as well going to be scrapping between lead lap and lap traffic between themselves. We are now down to just 6 drivers on the lead lap with less than 10 laps to go, just showing the drivers have been having a lot of issues with damage as well as incident points, and some that also got to be keeping in the back of their mind. Do not burn up or blow up this engine. That we've already seen multiple drivers do it. You don't want to be the next one on that list.
No, you definitely don't. And I tell you what, I think our leader, John Forbes, he may. Oh, wow, it's right in front of him. Gregor Shaw goes into the barrels as he is in the 6th position. He's stuck there. I don't know if the caution is going to come out for that. He's going to tow, and that is going to put him on pit road. But, man, John Forbes was having a tough time getting around him. He kind of backed it off there and said, ooh, I don't know about this. I got a pretty good lead here. I'm just going to back this one down. So, right now, he looks to be playing it safe as he's still got about a 4-second lead strong back to Cody Reed. It looks like Rochelle's now broken up into the top 3.
Yeah, Kyle Rochelle's done a great job moving his way forward. Same with Trent Jump. Both of them have kind of been tagged along with one another. They actually were racing side by side until Dylan Walterman and Trent Jump made contact with one another about that 3 laps ago. But with that contact and damage from that Gregor Shaw into the wall and having to take a tow, we went from having 6 drivers on the lead lap. We're down to just 5. It's going to be Dylan Walterman, Trent Jump, Kyle Rochelle, Cody Reed, and our leader, that of John Forbes, going to be the drivers on the lead lap. First driver on the lead of 1 lap down going to be James Loveland, who's hoping for a yellow to come out potentially. But for John Forbes, he wants us to stay clean and green. 4 laps, coming to 3 laps to go as he's coming up to lap traffic.
I cannot believe he's in position once again to get this done. Looking for that 4th victory in 8 races. This man will have won half of our races up to this point, and nobody would have pinpointed that coming into this season. Yes, was he one of the drivers to look for? No doubt. But, man, he has definitely shown up here when his time is called. He's got 2 laps to go. He's looking for $50 and a jar of dirt.
He's looking for it all. 2 laps to go. John Forbes, really, you look at this 11 machine, start of the season, won the Daytona race, and you thought, okay, well, maybe it was a fluke because it was the wild card race, and we didn't see him win. April swings around, and for that of John Forbes, the flowers bloom, and as well for the Fletcher Flores, that of our white flag waves. And right now, John Forbes, he's loving spring, because ever since his spring has sprung, it has been the 11 up front going for the wins, but he's got to survive. He's got a little bit of lot traffic, but down into turn number 3, John Forbes looking clean, green, and here at the dirt, he survives Thomas Green, and coming to the checkered flag, 4 wins, 8 races, half the season has been all John Forbes.
What a drive, man. I cannot believe he pulls it off once again. Back-to-back wins here at Bristol. Just, this is right now being a dream start to the season for John Forbes. I am so excited for this young driver.
It has been incredible. I mean, John Forbes, this has been a wild one. I mean, coming into this season, he was in my top 5 drivers to watch out for. I thought he was going to be, getting a couple of wins here or there, but this has been incredible to watch. I mean, he won Daytona, like I said. He won Michigan, which was a wild race on itself. It was a time-based race, but then the dominance from last week at Bristol when we were on the asphalt to now tonight, surviving the battle with Thomas Green, and now saying that he can win 4 wins out of 8 races. I would say 3 of them have been a kind of a fluky ones at times, but hey, you need the luck if you want to find yourself in victory lane in racing.
That is no doubt, Sam. I tell you what, tonight did not disappoint on the dirt. One of the most exciting races of the season for sure, and one of that came down all the way to the wire and some controversy, no doubt.
Well, as the 11 continues to burn it down, we're going to step aside here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We're going to be talking to our top 3, figuring out where everyone lied, and as well, preparing for the next race on the list. Congratulations to John Forbes. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, race number 8 of Season 2, and it was a wild one where John Force was able to survive the relentless push of Thomas Green. Green gets disqualified, so Force was able to run away, but before we talk to our leader about his battle, there were plenty of other ones going on, and we're going to start things off with Kyle Rochelle and get his point of view, finishing third here tonight. Kyle, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You come away with third place finish, but it certainly wasn't an easy one to grab. Tell us your point of view on those final 50 laps when it was just utter chaos for everybody.
Yeah, it was tough to pass. Pretty much just a one-lane groove on the top. And if you went to the bottom, just spun your tires. I don't know what happened. I guess I don't know if the 11 got into the one there or whatever. They got bottled up, and then I just was able to get by them and then pulled away a little bit, thankfully. Um, Overall, pretty good. I thought we were better in the beginning, then we kind of faded a little bit once we had a pit, but that green flag run really killed us.
Yeah, Kyle. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Nonetheless, a good bounce back there, especially having to come back from that pit stop, man. There late in this race, you got a third there at Daytona, so this is going to match your best finish here this season. So feel good to finally, get back into that top 5 and get another podium here in the season to get you some good points. As I think you're here tonight, 16th in points.
Yeah, I was trying to get off strategy with them. They pitted earlier than me, and then they all got in that wreck right after that caution. So kind of helped. It's a good thing I did pit because we didn't have a caution after that, and I would have ran out of fuel. So, but yeah, another top 3. Barely skating by in the top 16. Hopefully that puts us like maybe top 10. We should move up a little bit there. Got some stage points, low lap. Just gotta keep clicking away.
Well, Kyle, we're leaving from Bristol. We're now going back to the traditional mile-and-a-half racing to Las Vegas. How you feeling about that track that's coming up next week?
It should be fun. It's gonna be a tight, fast race, and probably save your tires.
Well, Kyle, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I just gotta thank the whole 8 Apex team, Tom, Tom, and Danny, and everything they do, and the whole series, and you guys.
That's going to be Kyle Rochelle in the 21 machine. Late Apex going to be coming away with third place finish. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into next week.
Yeah, thanks, man.
As we go from third place, we go to second place where we find Cody Reed in the 25, and Cody had a very good run for himself, coming away with a second place finish. Almost had some pace to say they could go for a win, but second was the best that he could get. Cody, it's Sam and Zach. I mean, you had a good run for yourself, second place. Was there anything else that maybe you felt like you could have changed up to battle for the drivers that were up front, or you feel like second place was the best that you could have gotten?
Oh no, I had nothing for them. I was really hoping they would wreck or something. No, I mean John Forbes is my teammate, so I'm happy to see him win. But it was in the back of my mind hoping that they would wreck.
Yeah, man. Well, I tell you what, it was definitely close to it there at some points up front. So y'all was definitely fell into that position, man. But Cody, I tell you what, man, what a season to start off here in these first 8 weeks for you, man. This is the second time you've been on the podium in your second, time you got second this season. So, looking back to last season, your best finish there was a 6th place finish, man. What do you feel like's changed so much this season for you? Because, man, the start to this season has been a much better one for you than the last season here at the Truck Series.
Well, one, I have a lot more practice. I'm putting more practice like week to week. Another thing, we don't have Vincent Sora and Mark Whitley taking up the front 2 spots like we did last season. Um, yeah, I have a team this time. That helps a lot. We share info and everything, so that helps me get a lot faster week to week.
I mean, Cody, it's been incredible to watch the development that you've been having, a lot more consistency. Well, we're going to be going to Las Vegas where it's going to be a lot more pack racing going on there. How you feeling about moving away from short track racing that we've had these past couple of weeks to now traditional mile-and-a-half racing?
I could not be more happy. I'm not gonna lie. It's short track racing's pretty stressful. My best races last season were at these mile-and-a-half tracks, so I'm happy to see Las Vegas coming up. Pretty excited for that.
Well, Cody, a great run here tonight, but before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I'd like to thank you guys as always, putting on a great show. I'd like to thank my teammates. They helped a lot. I wouldn't be up there if it weren't for them. That's about it. Yeah.
That's going to be Cody Reed and the 23 machine coming away with second place finish here tonight at Bristol Dirt. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into next week.
Thank you, guys.
As we move from second place, we go to first, where we find ourselves with the 11 of John Forbes, who at this point has won half of the races that we've ran this season. We've got the 11 of John Forbes. John, I mean, you're now on a 3-race winning streak, 4 races in total this season. But tonight, I would say probably was the biggest duel of them all. How are you feeling after racing here on Bristol Dirt?
Yeah, I'm tired and sweaty now. That was a battle for sure. Had to fight for every position there. Felt really confident going into this week, and yeah, just had to make it through that race. I got pretty damaged early on. Luckily, didn't get a meatball a lot of times. So yeah, that was really fun. This track is so much fun when we get a nice green run in there. It was really good.
Yeah, John, I tell you what, man, congrats on the 4th win this season. I mean, it's got to be a dream season to start off so far for you, man. I mean, I brought it up when we were talking about it earlier. I mean, we could, we expected definitely a lot out of you this season. You were one of the Final 4 contenders this season. We definitely figured a few wins were going to come out of you, man. But could you have expected this yourself entering this season? I mean, 4 wins in the first 8 races.
Yeah, I was so disappointed from last season, like not winning, being so close so many times, that I've put in so much more time into it this season, and just every week you want to be able to feel like you have a chance to win, and going into every week just with that confidence behind me now, it helps so much just week to week. So yeah, definitely a dream season, definitely what you want to do as a driver here.
Well, John, you were battling with Thomas Green there late in those final 50 laps. What was going through your mind, though, when you went from being up front, get door slammed, and then you find yourself back in the lead as Thomas Green got disqualified?
Yeah, the lap cars really made it challenging, because every time a lap car, I couldn't tell where they were going, and some would go low, some would go high. I was telling them to stay high, but you didn't know what they were going to do. Some corners they'd go high and then they go low the next. So that was the biggest challenge for me. And then just the challenges I was getting from everyone behind. But yeah, Thomas Green definitely caught up really fast, and it's unfortunate what happened, but it's dirt, man. Like, you gotta, it's different than oval racing, and yeah, it was definitely a good battle with him though. I know he's pretty upset about it, so yeah, he might owe me one here, but overall it was really good.
Overall, you found yourself a victory lane once again this season. And before we let you go, John, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, for sure. The weekly parent shout out as always. And then my teammates, we did a lot of talking and practice this week, and just battling and doing the official races and stuff. So that was a lot of help. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. This was definitely a good show tonight. Everyone's going to enjoy this one. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting this every week. It's going to be a lot of fun to rewatch this later.
That's going to be John Forbes in the 11 coming away with the victory here for the Dirt Art Productions 150 at Bristol. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations on 4 on total so far this season. Hopefully we'll see you get a couple of more, and good luck going to Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Well, Zach, I mean, John Forbes winning it, and I know there's going to be a lot of controversy under this one. A lot of drivers going to be talking about it with admins on how they felt this race went, but overall, across the line, it was John Forbes who got the win.
Yeah, like John said, he kind of alluded to it. It's dirt racing, and that battle between Thomas Green and him, that was great. It's different. It even I look at it so differently because I don't race dirt racing, and you look at moves that they're making and it's like, oh, we wouldn't do that, if it was pavement, but you got to do it on dirt. It's so much more out of control. You're so much more on the edge here, and it's just impressive just to watch those two guys go at it like that. Unfortunate for Thomas there, he ran out of incidents, so that's the unfortunate. Sometimes that's how it plays for you, because he was setting himself up there possibly for that first victory of the season, and he's definitely needed it because he's had a lot of pace, but just hasn't had those finishes to go along with it. But on the other turn of the table, you got John Forbes. I mean, what a season he's had. It's just been a dream one, no doubt. And if he can continue this 11 machine is just going to be fantastic. I gotta say, he's always known how to put himself in the position to win the race when it counts. That's what matters and when it comes down to these playoffs too. So we'll see if the 11 can continue it. But man, he's had a great start so far with 3 in a row now.
We certainly do. Got a handful of races still to go, but before we talk about what the future looks like, let's take an unofficial look at where the finishes are for these drivers. As it's going to be John Forbes taking the win here tonight unofficially, with Cody Reed, Kyle Rochelle, Trenton Jump, and that of Dylan Walterman going to be your top 5, with James Loveland, Aaron Kralik as well going to be seeing that of Christopher Norris, as well as Paul Bergoli, and that of Dakota Moniz is going to be finishing out your top 10. Christopher Norris, want to give note, first top 10 of the season. Good to see him finally crack into the top 10 for himself. But you look at further down through the field, there are a lot of drivers that are upset with the way that this race finished for themselves. You know, that for, Ethan Smith, that of Thomas Green, Talmadge, and also that of Tamer. I mean, this is not the way that they wanted the race to go. And you look even further down than that. I mean, you got Danny Cochran, Trevor Earhart, as well as Blake Howell that did not finish out this race.
Yeah, a lot of tough breaks for guys. I mean, you look, like you said there, Danny Cochran was leading the race very early in this thing and got caught up in getting into an incident there after the caution. And that's how it happens here at Bristol, and just couldn't get slowed down on the dirt. So unfortunate, man. But I tell you what, as we head off to Las Vegas next week, these guys will get a little bit back into the norm, and they'll know exactly what they're up against when they hit the 1.5 miler there in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, we're past halfway. This is crunch time. If you are not in the top 16 of points, nor do you have a win inside of the top 20, you've got to start hitting your marks, as we got 5 more races to go. Las Vegas next week, Dover, Charlotte, Kansas, and finishing out the regular season is going to be at Richmond. So all the drivers got to be focusing up if you are not inside of the top 16 or you don't have a win just yet. But Zach, before we take off, what are some of your final thoughts here tonight?
Well, man, one of my biggest final thoughts is thank you to all the fans who tuned in tonight. It was a pleasure to call this action. I'm a little bit out of my element here when we come to these dirt tracks. I'm definitely learning each and every time we come here. And, I think that's what makes it so much fun for me personally up in the booth, is being out of my element. Most races I kind of know what's going to happen. Is procedural. And tonight the dirt track shows again. You got to stay on top of it every lap. And John Forbes right now on a roll. He's been the driver that has been just so consistent and on top of everything this season, and it's showing why so far as he's got 4 victories. So, man, congrats to him. Thank you to everybody that tuned in, and thank you to the league and the sponsor here tonight, Dirty Art Productions from Larry Arts Productions. Great stuff. Always a great sponsor here, and pretty cool prizes there for John Forbes there with the $50 and that jar of dirt there from the Bristol Cup race.
Also want to give note to that of North Star Designs. If you're looking to get yourself graphics, designs, logos, websites, and more, go check out North Star Designs on Instagram, or you can look them up on TW Norse on Twitter and Twitch. For whatever you need, remember, look out to the stars, North Star Designs. I also want to give thanks to everyone else, ButtKicker as well, one of our major sponsors here at Free Fast Broadcasting, for joining us here on Monday Night Racing Action, as the NAISCC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series did it again. A spectacular race. Race number 8 of the season is done. Thanks to Larry Art Productions, as well as sponsoring here tonight and many of the races this season so far. It's John Forbes winning once again for his 4 out of 8 races to start out this season. Can he continue it? Well, you're going to find out next week at Las Vegas. And if we don't see you then, hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. We got that of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series playoff racing action, figuring out who will be in the Final 4. Hopefully see you then. If we don't, we'll see you next Monday. Have a good rest of your night.